All right, I think we are good to go. Good morning, Ms. Rivers. Sorry you couldn't join us on Valentine's Day. But we're glad we've got you.
Valentine's Day.
All right, so we've got a plea and arraignment calendar. The first position is, and I may mispronounce the name, Shaquille Scott. This is a transfer. Any idea why we don't have Mr. Jordan? Do we think Mr. Jordan's heading this way, or does he not have any?
Judge, this is John Whitenauer. I'll be handling his cases and mine today from the side of 285.
So I think Mr. Jordan is earning gold stars by being in Judge Adams' courtroom this week. What is your situation, Mr. Whitenauer?
Despite leaving at my regular time, I am on the side of the road due to some accident on 285.
Okay. All right. Well, sign off if you need to move. Otherwise, we're glad to have at least your voice from 285. So I think some of these are non-complex, bump them to us, but I don't understand.
Judge.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I did a little bit of research, so I have not had contact with Ms. Scott, but there is a case that's in this courtroom. It's 21 SC.
178032.
Yes.
Okay, I see that.
That she has Ed Adams for. And so I'm wondering if non-complex bumped this one up because of that one.
It is. That's what happened. I think there's someone else on this calendar too, where we got there's some confusion over what happens if we've got the older case. Then the non-complex should come here. But now sometimes if we've got a newer case, non-complex says, can we send the older case? Because of course I can't send the newer case to non-complex. And we're about to propose to the bench that there just be a universal, if there is a related case in the complex division, all non-complex cases can come to it, whether they're older or newer, just so they're in one place. I think it makes sense. Some judges are not going to like that, but it's majority vote, not unanimous vote. But that must be why Ms. Scott's case is here, but she is not. What do we know what her other charges are? Let me look that up. Oh, then she should really be here.
That's correct, but it doesn't look like she's actually charged with the murder. She's charged with armed robbery.
Conspiracy to commit armed robbery, right? Along with, of course, this other guy, Scott, Mr. Johnson. So it's going nowhere fast. Right, Ed Adams. There you go.
And Judge, there being no response, the state would move for a bench warrant and bond forfeiture on position 1.
All right, I'm going to look up one thing on that companion case. Is that it? Just make sure this isn't something where the conduct was from 3 years ago and all that.
Yes, Judge.
So Ms. Scott got a bond in April of 21 in this newer indictment. And it was indicted almost, well, it just sat. This is one you were frustrated about. Nothing happened to it for it got indicted, and then nothing happened in non-complex for 6 months. And then they said, oh, send it here. Let's see what address they have for Ms. Scott. It's interesting. They sent something to Mr. Adams in this new case as well. No, I was missed. 6. Okay, it's the same address, so I will do a bench warrant, but let's reach out to Mr. Adams too. All right, Jermaine Bailey.
One was transferred back to my complex
There you go. Why did he come here?
because they said he was a repeat.
But he wasn't? All right. Asante Bruce.
That should be off because he was in last week.
Oh, he was one of those. Okay, so that's been dealt with. We're going to get through this in record time. Mr. Burkott Dukes, he's on the call.
Yes, Your Honor, he is my case. This one is the situation where he was shot and injured and he lives in Colorado. I filed a waiver on February 8th to waive arraignment, but he is on the call as well.
All right, Mr. Burkott, is you there, Mr. Burkott? I need to be able to hear you.
Yes, sir.
All right, you're kind of invisible. What's going on with your camera?
It's 6 a.m. It was 7 a.m. right now in Colorado.
Okay, are you in a room where you should not turn the light on?
Yeah, yes, sir. But I could here. I can make it easier and step out inside. Hold on, just give me 1 second. I can step into the bathroom.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. So is it Burkott or Burkott Dukes?
It's just Brickhead.
Okay, Burkett. You are where right now in Colorado?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Ms. Feely, you and Mr. Burkett have ways of connecting.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Burkett, you got a bond here in Georgia? I guess I need to look up your case because I can't imagine that the bond says it's okay for you to be in Colorado, but maybe it does.
Yes. I'm sorry, say it again, sir.
What's in Colorado for you? Is that where family is or a job or why are you out there?
Yes, sir. I'm actually doing flagging out here and I'm doing my CDL and finishing up school as well, sir.
Okay. What school are you going to?
I'm sorry, can you say it again? You keep breaking out.
Sure. Where are you in school?
Oh, KIP Online Academy.
Okay. Yeah, so this is old. You got a bond 2.5 years ago. Do you still have an ankle monitor?
Yeah, yes, sir. I do.
Are you having to pay for that?
I only recently stopped paying for it, but yes, sir. I've been paying $300 a month every month. Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, Ms. Feely, it may be that you want to engage the prosecutor on that. Maybe we could adjust the ankle monitor situation,
Yes, Your Honor.
given the age of the allegations. Okay. So are you, I guess you filed a waiver of arraignment. Looks like you did that last week. Mr. Burkett, do you have, let me see what address we've got for you here in the system.
9725 East Harvard.
Nope, you're a man of many addresses. We've got an address in Raleigh, North Carolina for you. Did you live there at some point?
Yeah, yes, sir. My first apartment was out there, yes, sir.
Okay. So Ms. Feely, if you will file a change of address for Mr. Burkett. Hold on 1 second. Maybe that was related to, what's the CP number? Does it have a CP number?
I'm sorry, sir. You keep breaking out. Can you say that again?
I'm talking to someone else.
Okay.
Let me see. It's a 20 CP 193-583.
Yeah, and he now has a bond in that case.
Okay.
So we need to make that go away to figure out what happened. That's this case. That's the CP that turned into this. Okay, Mr. Burkett, we're just checking something out. You actually have a warrant in the system in relation to the earlier part of this case, but we'll clear that up because you've clearly come to court, or someone's come to court for you since then. You understand you may need to come back to Atlanta at some point to deal with this. I appreciate that you've got a good situation in Colorado with work and school and all that, and what we're doing today, virtual is fine, but there will come a point when you may need to be in Atlanta to address your charges.
Okay, yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Feely, anything else in Mr. Burkett's case?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. If you'll get that change of address, we'll get a scheduling order in. I think one of the co-defendants we've also started moving along, Grulon. He came to court last week. A little confusion on our part. I don't remember if we have the third person yet. No, that's on judicial hold. So we can move this forward. We've got the two defendants that we've got. Mr. Whitenauer, anything from the DA's office on this case?
No, Judge. I do have notes from Mr. Jordan indicating that discovery was served. And if there's any outstanding discovery, just let us know.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Mr. Burkett, any questions?
No, sir.
All right. You can go back to bed. Thank you.
All right, great.
Okay. Will King, I think we did last week.
Yes.
Yes, Judge. Those were waived on both 5 and 6.
Yep. And does Ms. Taylor have both?
Will be mine, Judge.
You have both. Ms. Taylor rolled off. She was in her mobile unit.
I don't know if she's actually filed a motion to withdraw, but I went ahead and filed a substitution of counsel.
Okay. But your understanding is you'll have both of Mr. King's cases.
Yes.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Did we already do Quindarius Rhodes? We did. Okay. And Chase Elliott, I know we did that and the AG's office was going to come back, but just in case Ms. Elliott showed up. Nope. All right. Dondre Frazier.
Judge, that's going to be my case. And if there's no response, the state would move for a bench warrant and bond forfeiture.
He may have waived the amendment.
All right. Yep. So he waived arraignment and Ms. Nelson excused Mr. Frazier. So what we'll do, Mr. Whitenauer, is get a scheduling order in place. And if you can get discovery to Mr. Wright, we'll move that one along.
Understood.
Jerry Bates. Hello, Mr. Schwartz.
Hello, Your Honor.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Yourself?
I'm all right. I'm sorry we made you come down here. My goal was to get Mr. Bates here, but we got half of the equation.
I understand. I have this mysterious worker court. I don't know at 9:30, so I had to be here anyway.
Go Orca Court.
I've attempted to reach out to my client. This case is from April of 2020. Nothing has happened since then.
He has a collection of warrants also from 2020 for vehicular homicide that doesn't seem to be related to this situation. And that was the only reason. Normally waiver is fine, like you just heard with Derek Wright and his client. Waiver is fine. You don't need to be down here, only because there are these open warrants also from 2020 for something kind of serious sounding, but not this case that we needed Mr. Yes.
Okay, because I looked in the system. I don't represent him on that. I've never been contacted about that. I'm aware of that.
There's nothing else in the system about it either than those warrants. So we'll need to work through that. More importantly, he will, but he'll also need to plug back in on this case. So
I mailed a letter to the last known address. I tracked it. I know it was delivered to a mailbox, so.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be delivered earlier, and thanks to U.S. Postal Service, it probably was delivered yesterday at about 9:30.
Well, he's always free to walk in. If he reaches out to you to say, boss, what's happening here? You can get him, just reach out to Ms. Nelson. And if he walks in, we can at least address the bench warrant here. And then hopefully by then, someone's been able to sort out what these vehicular homicide electronic warrants from 2020 are all about.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that's all I have.
Enjoy Orca.
Thank you.
Okay.
And like I said, if I hear something, I'll let the board know.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet. So Mr. Whitenauer, do they need to generate the,
Yes, Judge, we'll provide a bench warrant to the court for this case.
great, for position 10, Bates.
Yep.
Great. All right. Position 11, Elijah Sharp.
Judge, he's present. He will be my client. We're gonna waive arraignment today and our plea of not guilty. I will get the paperwork filed, and he also needs to update his address, so I'll get that filed as well.
All right. Mr. Sharp, you moved recently, or these are old charges that are just now been indicted? You moved recently. Okay. And you've given that information to Ms. Wood? Okay. And you've given her a good phone number? Great. Okay. Then Ms. Wood's going to file some paperwork on your behalf. The state will get discovery to your lawyer. She will talk with you about that discovery and figure out what's going to happen next. I'll see you next, either because there are motions that your lawyer filed that we need to work through. Maybe witnesses have to come testify, or because you and Ms. Wood have worked the case out. And then we need to take that plea or talk about diversion, whatever's going to happen, or there's going to be a trial. That's another way we work things out, is that a jury will hear what the case is about. I need to talk to you about bond real briefly because of the charges here. It looks like in the past you've tried to, let me look at this. At one point you wanted to travel Indiana, had some trouble with the ankle monitor, and so a judge didn't let you travel. Let me see if I can find your bond.
So whenever we try and reach them, they try and do something. It was the right one, but it wasn't like it's on him.
Okay. Thank you.
Looks like there've been some hiccups with the bond. Make sure it's going to be clear. Judge Locke had you go back into custody. Where's the bond order? This is complicated. Is Amy Cole a colleague of yours?
She is, Judge.
All right. So you are supposed to be staying away from a Jatavia Wright. You understand that? That part of your bond hasn't changed. There's been a few things that have been on and off. You had a $1 bond, and then it was a $50,000 bond, and I don't know what was behind all that. Important part is that you're staying away from Ms. Wright. Not an issue? Good. Okay. Then you and Ms. Wood will connect after she gets discovery, and we'll go from there. Mr. Whitenauer, anything else on Mr. Sharp's case?
No, Judge. With that waiver and not guilty, I'll make sure that discovery is sent to Ms. Wood.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, Mr. Sharp, you're free to go when Ms. Wood says it's okay. She may need to talk to you a little bit more, but once she says you can go, you're free to go.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Samantha Harley. Oh, you're online.
Morning, Judge.
Hey, Ms. Kim, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
All right. let me get Ms. Harley. There she is. Ms. Kim, is Ms. Harley waiving arraignment or does she want to be formally arraigned?
She waives arraignment.
All right. Let me pull her case up. So Ms. Harley, you are supposed to stay away from a Ms. Burrows and an address on Far Road. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
Okay. Any issues with that so far?
No.
Okay, good. Ms. Kim, other than you filing a waiver of arraignment, which I'll need you to get to Ms. Nelson, anything from the defense side?
Nothing further, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Whitenauer, will this be your case?
It's actually not. It's going to be handled by the sexual assault unit, and I'll communicate that announcement to that ADA.
Okay, she happens to be here.
Okay.
Your Honor, Lydia Johnson to say, Your Honor, this discovery was served to Ms. Kim on February 1st, and so I'll get with her and talk about possible non-trial disposition of the case.
Okay, Ms. Kim, in case you couldn't hear that, Ms. Charles is the ADA handling the case, and she has already mailed to you the discovery. So if you don't have it yet, you and she should talk, but it should be on your way, on its way to you. And then Ms. Charles is going to want to talk with you about possible non-trial resolutions to the case. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you, Judge. May we be excused?
Yes, Ms. Harley, you have any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you for joining us. Ms. Kim will let you know what's happening next.
Okay, thank you.
Good day.
All right, bye-bye. Devron Rumley. How you doing? If you got a bad leg, you don't need to stand up if those are your crutches. Does Miss Taylor represent you? She's supposed to. Okay, she's listed here. We're going to reach out to Miss Taylor to hear from her. So sit tight and we'll see if we can track her down, okay? You've got two cases. Tony Miles.
Good morning, Your Honor. Brianna Woods with the Granville Group. Akil Secret and Brian Granville were representing Mr. Miles. We've had communication with his wife, Angela Miles, and I believe that they were going to hire Attorney Sailors or someone in that office. We recently sent them our file, but we've asked for them to obviously file a entry of appearance. I just don't believe it's happened. He's
Actually, yeah, Andre Sailors filed an entry of appearance and waiver of arraignment on the 9th. Did he talk to you? I don't necessarily let someone with these kind of charges not show up unless Ms. Nelson got involved or you got involved, Mr. Shapiro.
Judge, I only saw that the waiver of arraignment had been filed. I was also contacted by an assistant with Mr. Saylor's office regarding discovery, so we did have some communication.
Okay, so we think Mr. Miles is out there and reachable.
Yes, entry of way, they were excused.
They were excused. Okay. All right. So Ms. Woods, I appreciate you plugging in. That's very responsible. I don't know if your team will want to file a motion to withdraw, but there is, and he may have entered an appearance twice here. Let's see. He may be double entered. Yep. So Mr. Sailors has filed 2 entries of appearance. He really means it. If you all want to come off, then someone should submit a motion to withdraw, which I will grant because Mr. Miles has, it sounds like, substituted Mr. Sailors for the many lawyers you just mentioned.
Yes, Judge. And one other thing, it's really nice to meet you. My husband's actually Julian Jordan, so it's really nice to meet you.
Oh my gosh. Well, so he's in the middle of trial right now.
Yes, he is.
All right. Well, I hope he survives that. We miss him. And I've enjoyed working with him. I hope he's only said good things. If he hasn't, he's misguided.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. It's a small world. Waive and schedule. So, Mr. Shapiro, you're going to send discovery to Mr. Sailors?
It was sent yesterday, Judge.
Okay. This is an old set of charges that took a while to get indicted, it looks like, because there was an arrest in August of 2020. Okay. All right. Well, we'll move it along.
Thank you, Judge.
Willie Swinger.
Judge, if I could reach out, I spoke to his mother yesterday and she had indicated they would be here.
Okay. Well, we'll hold on for a second. How about Quentin Oliver? Oh, he may have, that's another Derek Wright. So he may have waived. Let's see. Yep, he waived arraignment. Okay, so Mr. Oliver is good to go. We need Mr. Swinger. Maybe his case could resolve real quickly, looking at that one charge, but maybe not today. Okay, so we'll hold on that. And Mr. Rumley is here. We're waiting to see if Ms. Taylor is going to dial in. And that gets us to our supplemental plea and arraignment. Two females not here yet. They could walk across the street. They're at, oh, one of you may be released. Are you Ms. McBurrows? You got out. All right. Hello, Ms. McBurrows. I'm all right. Let me. When did you get out? It's like a week ago. How long were you in?
Almost 2 months.
So Mr. Sexion is the co-defendant and he's already resolved his case. And that was with Ms. Wood. Are you planning on hiring a lawyer or do you need a lawyer appointed to represent you?
No, when I went to court last time I was in there, my charges were dropped and they only let me get aggravated. I mean, death, obviously.
That may have happened. Let's look. I'm not doubting you, but there were proceedings that happened in April. Yeah, look at that. In April. Oh, sorry. Wrong. That was Mr. Sexion. I don't know about that. I'm not disagreeing with you, but there's very little paperwork in your file since you were indicted. And you've been indicted, even though things may have been dismissed in front of a magistrate judge. You've been indicted for the full thing, the armed robbery of Dwayne Evans and home invasion of Dwayne Evans's place. Really what I need to know, because I don't want to have you start talking about this. You should talk about it with your lawyer. Do you plan on hiring a lawyer or do you need a lawyer appointed? You have an absolute right to a lawyer and I'll get you one. But you also are free to hire one if you want to select the lawyer you're going to have. Okay. Would you mind, well, are you able, Ms. Feely, to speak briefly with Ms. McBurrows, not about representation, because I think Ms. Wood handled the co-defendant. I don't want to mislead Ms. McBurrows about the possibility of appointed counsel if she doesn't qualify.
I'll speak with her.
Thanks. So Ms. McBurrows, Ms. Feely, who is one of the senior lawyers in here, is going to talk with you real briefly, not about the facts of the case. She and her colleague represented the co-defendant, so they cannot represent you. There's a conflict, but she just needs to talk to you a little bit about your finances to understand if you qualify for appointed counsel. If you have $1 million, you have to get your own lawyer. If you don't have $1 million, it's actually less than that. Then I'll find a lawyer for you. But I'm going to have Ms. Feely chat with you about that real briefly, and then she'll let me know whether you qualify for appointed representation, and I'll work on getting you a lawyer. Okay? Do you have any questions? Okay. Let me. I don't even see a bond for Ms. McBurrows, but she got out of jail. It's an odd docket entry. Yes, ma'am.
First, I had a $50,000 bond for all of my charges, and the 10,000 and 5,000. Then they dropped it, and they only really did the spot.
Okay. So you're fine. You don't need to do anything right now with that. When you get a lawyer, we may need to work through just fixing that bond so it applies to all the charges you have. Okay. All right. So if you'll sit tight, Ms. Feely will talk to you. And then I guess the only other, we have 2 people left to work through. One is Ms. Brown, but I don't know if she's here yet, or is that who you brought up? Females weren't here, female, even though they're like right across the street. Okay. Do you need me to go get her? Yeah. And then I think we're going to take a plea on LaCorey Williams. Is that off the trial calendar?
It is not.
It is not. It's just a plea. That's all right with me. Let me find that. One 78459. Ms. Feely, that's your case?
It is, and I need to speak with him briefly.
Okay, if you would talk with
Yep.
Ms. McBurrows first, I'll get all the stuff ready for that. And are you going to handle the plea for the state since you're here,
Yes.
rather than side of the road Whitenauer?
Rather than side of the road, white now.
Okay, all right. Did you have any success reaching Ms. Taylor's team? Okay, all right. What case are you here for? Okay, she's on the calendar. She just hasn't been brought over yet. And Ms. Wood, is Ms. Brown your case?
Yes, sir.
Taylor's office said she does not represent.
Mr. Rumley?
Which are attached correctly. If she said she did entries.
Yeah, I don't. Mr. Shapiro, I just got an email from the Orca folks saying there is no assistant DA for a pretrial calendar that they're holding. Who should I bug to have someone run over there fast?
Judge, likely that would be Deputy Davenport, Chandra Davenport would be the best person to. I can give you her contact information if you need it, Judge.
I got her.
Ms. Taylor did that for the bond.
Okay.
She did-
I got to call it his attorney.
Okay, hey, before you go, we just spoke with someone from Ms. Taylor's office who said she doesn't represent you. She may have helped you with the bond, but she's not your lawyer for the actual going forward to trial or whatever's going to happen in your cases. So you should go call and have that conversation, because there may be a financial misunderstanding as to what you or your family paid for and what it got you. But if you don't mind reaching out, and then let me know what you hear, okay?
So this is the thing with this case, right? They just missed this case when I was in Quincy County. And when I got out this time, it just came back up, so.
So you've got two cases. I don't know which one you're saying they dismissed, but
They brought it back up since I've been out.
okay. So maybe Ms. Taylor she helped you get those cases dismissed?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's probably what she got paid for. What she has been telling my staff is that she has not been hired or retained to handle these cases now that they're back. So I don't know why they were dismissed or what happened with that, but they are very much not dismissed here. And so you're free to hire a lawyer if you can afford one. And you may want to get Ms. Taylor back if she got your charges dismissed before. Before you can leave for the day, I need to know, are you going to try to hire Ms. Taylor and how long that'll take? Or are you out of money and we should get a lawyer appointed to represent you? But why don't you call Ms. Taylor's office first and have that conversation? You can go right outside and then pop back in here and we'll sort that out, okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah, really just partner lawyer if you can. Cause I just got out. My leg brother got shot up, like, ain't been out long, this K got dismissed, and just right back, I ain't.
So you haven't been out earning money, you've been in custody.
I've been at Grady.
In Grady, okay, not in custody, but healing.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm making the numbers up, but if Ms. Taylor says, look, I need $10,000 to handle these cases, you don't have $10,000. Okay. Ms. Wood, Ms. Feely, if you were going to be representing which one of you would be handling Mr. Rumley?
He'll be mine, Judge.
Okay. If you don't mind talking to Mr. Rumley about finances, it'd be great if we could line him up with counsel today. If we can't, we'll bring him back. So Mr. Rumley, Ms. Wood's going to talk to you, okay? Being reassigned? Yeah. She left before we could scowl. Okay. I think we're gonna, why don't we do the plea? Do you want to go talk to Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Right now, did you already talk to Ms. McBurrows?
Yes, and she qualifies.
She qualifies. All right. So she's going to talk to Mr. Williams. Ms. McBurrows, I'm going to try to find you a lawyer. It would be the conflict defender. Unfortunately, the conflict defender who works with me is in that big YSL trial you may have read about with Young Thug. And so he's tied up for 6 months. So we're going to try to figure out who can plug in to work with you. Okay. All right. You came here. I want to make sure we've got a good address for you. Buffington Road, 2703. Okay, that's where the mail's going to go. You're free to go. Thanks.
Mr. Attorney,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Rowley is going to qualify and he will be mine.
Okay.
I've explained to him that I'll be not guilty waiving formal arraignment, and we've exchanged contact information. He tells me he got notice in the mail today, so I think he has a good address.
Well, let me just double check since I'm here in the system.
Thank you.
Sure. Got you at Welcome All Road, J7. Okay, if you move, you got to let Ms. Wood know so we can update your address in the system. Otherwise, as long as Ms. Wood's got a good phone number for you, she'll call you when things are happening, but the court will always mail you something as well. I know that's old school, but that's the way we know we don't text people. So you'll get something in the mail. So if you move from J7, you got to let everyone know. All right. All right. Good luck with your leg. So you'll do the waiver and entry and all that.
Yes, Judge.
Great. Thank you. So Willie Swinger, I guess we'll wait a little bit more.
Judge, did you get a response to your Orca question?
I was about to hit send and then I learned that Mr. White had just shown up.
Okay.
So someone was running late, or maybe everyone's stuck on 285 with Mr. White now. So what's the unit that you're in? What's it called? Oh, you're still here. You just moved to the way back. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about you.
What unit are you in?
Crimes against children, Judge.
And that's where you're moving.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you were in,
Sexual assault unit.
so that would be like an adult rape?
Correct.
Okay, and now it would be child molestation or child rape. Is there a hierarchy of them in that unit, or they're all just different experiences?
Experiences.
So because you were in that other one for 45 minutes, that's enough, and then you roll over to the next one? Who is our new person?
I don't know yet. I'll just ask them as soon as I find out.
So you won't have the pleasure of trying Jerry Peck?
I'm hoping I will keep that one as well as Montagne Wadley. These are two I've spent a lot of time on.
Mr. Wadley, we need to make sure we get a bench warrant for him.
It's already active.
Yeah, that's on the new.
Oh, that's right, you told me, because I looked him up the other day and it didn't say judicial hold, but he had 2 cases. Was it a re-indictment or?
Yeah, well, he was
Well,
gonna
look,
plead to the.
the lower charges.
Oh, right. You had lined up a deal for him and he didn't show up.
Correct.
Okay. So we just need to move the other one into judicial hold as well. Okay, got it. So maybe we'll catch up with him. Mr. Peck, of course, is right where he needs to be. And Ms. Abbasi just needs to get up to speed. You've given her all the discovery. I guess we just need to make sure if she wants to start talking with the prosecutor, she can start with you. Good. All right. And then you'll let her know, if you're not allowed to keep that case, who the new person is. Okay. Excellent.
So what's your lucky courtroom now?
Don't know yet. Just found out this morning. I was sitting here, I was like, oh, okay. But I keep those things. I get it.
Yes, ma'am. I thought you had left. There's just this person sitting way in the back. All right. Congratulations, I guess. Yeah. So have there been departures? Is that why this happens? Or it's just the natural, you've been in one place for more than 3 weeks, you might get comfortable?
There's a bit of both, Judge. We've had some departures for people going to YSL and then the people that we borrowed from other units to cover the person.
Oh, they're internal departures, not
Yes,
people
yeah.
going to Cobb or
No, we haven't had any of those. So we've had some
Good.
shuffling around.
going to YSL. Whew, whew.
Mhm.
All right.
So. McBurney, she said she's eligible, so.
Yes, and so sadly, we need to reach out to Ms. Walker and see if she can get someone. And my guess is that I can't remember enough about Mr. Sexian. Were you represented Mr. Sexian?
Yes, sir.
So unofficially, if you were calling it, is Ms. McBurney a case that should be pretty easy to work out, or that's not? I just don't remember the facts of the case.
Were her armed robbery charges actually dismissed?
No, well, probably with the preliminary hearing.
Okay.
But the docket for her here has 3 entries. Indictment, you didn't show up, and like lifting your, that's it. So that it's complete. I didn't know she had a bond. And my guess is she's got a bond that totally doesn't apply to all these charges and their severity. She says I have a $5,000 bond because all that was left was theft by taking or receiving. So she's been indicted for the same charges, charged count for count with Mr. Sexian. I just don't remember what he pled to and if his version of events made life complicated for her or not. I don't remember the circumstances of the case.
I don't know if I would say it would be easy, but
Okay,
it should be workable.
all right. We should get Ms. Jordan on the other side. That would be interesting.
His was non-negotiated.
Yes, that's right.
We got 15 years to search. Okay.
I think it was to, like, the armed robbery was reduced, right? I mean,
To robbery.
Oh, I didn't know you were back. Ms. Feely, are you ready to go with Mr. Williams?
Yes, and just so the court's aware, Mr. Williams was recently found competent, and I believe, based on my dealings with him, that he is, but as we know, it's a low standard and he's very nervous.
Sure. Well, we'll figure out a way to work through this. I looked at the charge and hopefully we can make that happen. So do you think it's better for him to be at the podium?
That's what I prepared
Okay,
for you.
great. Hi, Mr. Williams.
Hey.
Give me 1 second. Just getting something up on the screen here. Ms. Rivers, are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Great. So we are here on case 21 SC 178459. It's State versus LaCory Williams. Mr. Williams is here in court with his lawyer, Ms. Feely, and Mr. Shapiro is here for the state as the prosecutor. Mr. Williams, Ms. Feely tells me that you're ready to enter a plea in your case. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The way that's going to work is that in a moment, Mr. Shapiro is going to put you under oath. So you're going to raise your hand to swear to tell the truth. And once you've done that, it's important that all the answers you give to the questions are truthful. Okay.
Okay.
If you're asked a question that you don't understand, just let Ms. Feely know and we'll figure out a different way to ask it. Will you do that?
Yes, sir.
And if at any point someone says something that doesn't make sense to you, or maybe is different from what Ms. Feely said was going to happen, will you stop us so that we can explain it in a different way?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. I'll be happy to do that when you're ready, Mr. Shapiro.
Mr. Williams, would you please raise your right hand?
Yes, sir.
Do you swear or affirm that any statements or testimony that you shall give in this matter currently before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You can go ahead and lower your hand. Mr. Williams, would you begin by stating your true and correct legal name for the record?
LaCory Williams.
And are you at this time taking or under the influence of any medications, drugs, or alcohol?
No, sir.
Is there any medication that you normally take that you have not taken or been given today?
No, sir.
Mr. Williams, I'm sorry to interrupt. Mr. Williams, have they prescribed you any medicine that you take while you're at jail?
Yes, the Georgia Regional Hospital prescribed me meds, but I haven't been taking the meds.
How come?
Sometimes it make me sleepy, drowsy, more hungry.
And that's why you don't like feeling sleepy or hungry?
Yes, sir.
So you have not been taking the medicine?
No, sir.
When was the last time you took the medicine?
About a week ago.
Okay, so you only recently stopped, or do you take it sometimes and then you take a break and then you take it sometimes?
Yes, sir.
The second thing?
At the Georgia Regional Hospital, I was taking it meds every night.
Okay. Did that help you feel a little bit better about things?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so did they give you different meds at the jail? I'm just curious why you stopped.
It was just making me sleepy and more hungry.
Okay. So you didn't take any medicine last night?
No, sir.
How about the night before?
No, sir.
Okay. Does the fact that you have not taken any medicine make it hard for you to understand what we're talking about today?
No, sir.
Okay. Back to you.
How old are you, Mr. Williams?
40 years old.
And how far did you go in school?
8th grade.
Are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Williams, do you understand that you've been charged with criminal damage to property in the second degree?
Yes, sir.
And do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to that charge?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that if you were to plead not guilty or were to remain silent and refuse to enter any plea at all, then the state would be required to prove that charge against you at a jury trial?
Yes, sir.
Have you had enough time to speak with your attorney about all the facts and circumstances related to that charge?
Yes, sir.
Do you need more time to discuss the case with your attorney?
No, sir.
And are you satisfied with your attorney's services?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Feely, are we waiving a formal reading of the indictment for purposes of the plea?
Yes,
And are we waiving any and all defects for purposes of the plea?
we are.
Mr. Williams, has your attorney advised you of the minimum and maximum sentence for the charge to which you're pleading guilty today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is it your understanding that today you're entering what's called a negotiated guilty plea, which means that the state is going to recommend the following sentence to the court? The state is going to recommend that the charge be reduced to misdemeanor disorderly conduct, that you be sentenced to 12 months to serve, and that you be given credit for the time you've already served in custody. Is that your understanding, the negotiated plea you're accepting today?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that the court's not required to accept the state's recommended sentence?
Yes, sir.
And do you understand that the court has the right to sentence you to the maximum possible sentence for this charge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Williams, are you currently on probation or parole?
No, sir.
Mr. Williams, as part of the negotiated plea, are you waiving any and all defenses, including any mental health defenses?
Yes, sir.
And do you understand that by entering a guilty plea today, you're giving up the following rights: the right to a trial by jury, the right to remain silent, the right to confront witnesses against you, the right to the assistance of counsel, the right to the presumption of innocence, and the right to appeal if you were convicted of these charges at a trial.
Yes, sir.
Is it your decision to waive those rights, which means not to use them, and to enter a guilty plea today?
Yes, sir.
Has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything to get you to enter a guilty plea?
No, sir.
And is it your decision to enter a guilty plea because you are in fact guilty?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Williams, in indictment number 21 SC 178459, how do you plead to the reduced charge of disorderly conduct?
Guilty.
And is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with full knowledge of the charges against you?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that you have only a limited right to appeal this guilty plea conviction?
Yes, sir.
And do you understand that if you wish to challenge the voluntariness of this guilty plea, you must do so by filing what's called a habeas corpus petition?
Yes, sir.
And do you understand that because this is a misdemeanor conviction, you will have only 12 months from today to file a habeas corpus petition?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, if this case were to proceed to trial, the state would have proven that on January 3rd of 2021, officers with the Atlanta Police Department were dispatched on a trespassing call to the Atlanta Medical Center. Upon their arrival, the officers spoke with several witnesses who stated that the defendant, Mr. LaCorey Williams, had been discharged from the hospital, but continued returning to the facility despite being told multiple times to stay off the property. At one point, he returned to the emergency room and destroyed some property, including by snatching a computer off the wall, as well as breaking another computer that was on a desk. The manager of the emergency room at the Atlanta Medical Center estimated the total value of the property that was damaged to be around $2,000. And so based on the statements by the witnesses, Mr. Williams was taken into custody and charged with criminal damage to property in the second degree. Mr. Williams has served 772 days in custody for this offense. And so the state is recommending the reduction to the misdemeanor charge and that Mr. Williams be given credit for the time he has already served.
Okay. Mr. Williams, thank you for that information. Mr. Williams, when you get out, and you're going to get out in the next couple of days because you've already served a whole lot more than 1 year, where are you going?
I'm going home.
Where's home?
Home. I have a home here in Georgia.
Is it in Atlanta or where's home?
Yes, yes, sir. In Atlanta.
Who lives there?
I live there.
Just you?
Yeah, me and my lady friend.
Your lady friend. But you haven't been there for a couple years.
Right.
Do you know that it's still there for you?
Yes, it's still there.
How do you know?
Because I check on it. I talk to a realtor.
Okay. And it's a place that you could go into right away, or do you need to get a job and get some money before you could go into it?
It's a place I can go into right away.
Okay. Is your lady friend still there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Mr. Williams, do you have any questions about anything Mr. Shapiro said?
No, sir.
Ms. Feely?
No, Your Honor.
I didn't ask that. Well, do you have anything you want to add as opposed to do you have questions about what Mr. Shapiro said?
Yes, Your Honor. Just that Mr. Williams has kind of been stuck and is very much looking forward to getting back on his feet. And I hope that he is able to do that. And he seems confident that he will be able to get his feet out from under him once he is released. So we're asking the court to accept the negotiated plea.
Okay. Mr. Williams, when you are not at Georgia Regional and not in jail, do you have a place you can go to get medicine to help you out?
Yes.
Where is that? I mean, you used to go to the Atlanta Medical Center. It's closed. Since you've been in jail, it's closed. It's not, the building is still there, but all the doors are locked. It's not a hospital anymore. Where would you go to get help with medicine?
I will have to find a place that can give me medication.
Okay. All right. Well, Mr. Williams, I find that there's a factual basis for your plea, that in January, a couple years ago, you got a little upset while you were at the Atlanta Medical Center and broke some things. I also find that your plea is knowing and voluntary. Voluntary means no one's forcing you to do this. And knowing means that because you've had a chance to ask questions, you understand what we've been talking about. Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Williams, do you authorize my staff to sign the indictment indicating that you've pled guilty?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Feely, can we sign for you?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Shapiro?
Yes, please, Judge.
All right. So, Mr. Williams, I'm going to accept your plea to disorderly conduct, which is 16-11-39. It's a misdemeanor. And I will follow the recommendation, which is that you serve 12 months, which is basically a year. But you've already done that. So you're not going to serve any more time. You'll be released in the next couple days. And I hope that you figure out pretty quickly a place to stay, as well as a place where you can get some help if you need to get medication. And there are places that'll help if you are asking around in the right way. Okay?
Sir.
Any questions about anything?
No, sir.
All right. Ms. Feely, thank you for working with Mr. Williams. I'm glad we got him back in here and that we can move him along. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Shapiro. You bet.
Judge, I think that business, may I be excused?
I think so. Before you, I think we lost our roadside lawyer is still there. Let's just go through the calendar one more time. Rumley is going to be Ms. Wood's case. Right, okay. And then Willie Swinger did not show up, so that'll be a bench warrant, Mr. Whitenauer. That's position 16.
Yes, Judge.
His co-defendant, his lawyer waived. We need to get Ms. McBurrows a lawyer, and then Ms. Brown is going to be brought up or is up. You got to go get her. So we do need someone to either stay on the call or be here in person for the arraignment of Ms. Brown.
I'm happy to stay, Judge.
All right, Mr. Whitenauer, you are free to go.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. So we'll take a 2-minute timeout, however long it takes. Do you need me to go away?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. I'll come back once Ms. Brown is up. Look, go. Ms. Wood and Ms. Feely. Darian Peters, likely a plea, likely not, crazy offers.
Judge, that is one of mine. He was evaluated, I believe it was last year, came back competent. Me and Ms. Patterson are like, we need another evaluation. So I thought another one. I got a little bit of pushback from the team at the jail about that. I'm happy. I have a reasonable offer, but I just haven't been able to have a good conversation.
Sure. It's whether that offer could be meaningfully communicated.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Emery Batten.
I have been told that's getting re-indicted.
Is it adding people?
I'm not sure. That is, Mr. Batten is the co-defendant of Ricky Wolf.
Oh.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Never mind. All right. Fernando Price.
That should be a plea.
Maurice Jackson.
That's serious.
He's got a meth case and then ag assault.
I think
Got one with Mr. Jordan. I think one with Mr. Whitenauer.
we're still in discussions about a global resolution, hopefully.
Okay. Oh, that's a murder. Never mind. I'm just looking at who's been in jail. How about Timothy Anderson?
Potentially a plea.
But isn't that true about most cases?
I know, Judge, but if
Okay.
not, we'll be ready.
Okay. It's only a 1-week calendar, so it's making sure we can do something. It may well be Sherry Grant, but we'll see. Okay. Super. Ooh. Did you send something to the printer? We've been getting printouts for Judge Leffridge in here. We used to get stuff from the sheriff. What's gonna come out?
No, they're not.
Mr. Williams was doing it, correct? Yes.
Hmm?
Mr. Williams was doing it.
Yes, it was. Did I ask about Vondi Humphrey?
That will be a plea.
Okay. Was he, I'm just looking at the charges. Did he have a break sort of like Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
meaning that's one reason why I gathered some age.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. That would be a good one to sort out. What about Danny Jones?
He's the one that, I'm not sure how he's doing health wise.
Oh, you had a couple where someone was stabbed and someone else that they were worked out in your
Right.
mind, but we couldn't get them here. Okay.
Danny Jones is the man who stayed on the, like, couldn't figure out how to get off Zoom, and you kept excusing him and he kept still being there.
Okay. Let's see what printed out. It is a plea.
Is it mine?
Hmm? No, it's a plea for Judge DeFore and Barry Zimmerman. I've got sent here.
Sometimes when you're setting up a plea for the first time, it will go to.
But I don't know why it comes here. I don't mind that it prints out, but so Judge DeFore is looking for his plea. 3 years probation. Have you tried to visit anyone at ACDC yet?
I haven't, but I'm going this week.
Have you heard?
I've
We have colleagues said it's great, it's terrible. What's the word?
I've heard it's good
I mean, certainly easier to get to than Union City.
in Alpharetta.
Yeah. Who's in Alpharetta?
So apparently I'm lucky enough to have one of 8 permanent inmates there. They're veterans. So Tex McIver is there, and a client whose name escapes me right now, but I went up to see him.
As in they're military veterans and that's why they're there? As opposed to veterans of the system?
Right.
Huh, okay. That's where Tex is. Interesting. All right.
Is that
Safe quarters.
specially set by chance?
I only get one request a week from his lawyers to do so. It will be.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll give you guys some time off. If you'd build your vacations around that, I'd appreciate it. That's interesting that you bring up Tex McIver. I'm reading the charges in Ms. Brown's case, where she accidentally caused the death allegedly of Michael Boyd. Huh. Hey, you're back. I just got here. That's a funny coincidence.
Hey, Ms. Brown, how are you? Back after this.
Ms. Brown?
Hi.
How are you?
Fine.
Good. I'm Judge McBurney. Apparently it took a little while to get you from the city jail, but today is your arraignment day. Ms. Wood has been appointed to represent you. I'm going to ask her a few questions and then I'll make sure if you've got any questions, we talk about those as well. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Ms. Wood, is Ms. Brown waiving arraignment or does she want to be formally arraigned?
We're waiving, Judge.
All right. Do you know, Mr. Shapiro, who from your office would be handling this case? It's a slightly different set of charges.
Judge,
Is it major case?
This one's on the supplemental calendar, Judge.
It is.
I unfortunately didn't receive a copy of that, but if there's a case, thank you. I
Yeah.
can tell you exactly.
I have a copy of this. Let me take the staple out and I'll give you this.
So Ms. Brown, I'm just trying to figure out what lawyer is going to be handling your case on the prosecution side, because that lawyer needs to get to Ms. Wood all the discovery, the police reports and witness statements and whatnot. Then what'll happen next is Ms. Wood will meet with you to talk about that discovery and see if there are motions that should be filed. Maybe you gave a statement to the police and the police didn't Mirandize you. I'm making all this up. I don't know what happened in the case. If there are no motions that she wants to file, then she's going to start working with you to see, is this the kind of case that would resolve with a plea? Or is it something that should go to trial? I took a quick look at the indictment. It sounds like it's a complicated situation that is more tragic than criminal, but you've been charged with these things and Ms. Wood will be a good advocate for you as you try to work through this. What do you know, Mr. Shapiro?
It is with the major case unit, so that'll be Mr. Abadi handling, Judge.
Okay. So Ms. Wood knows the lawyer well who's got the case for the state. He's not here right now, but Ms. Wood will get that discovery. We'll talk with you and I'll see you again for one of three reasons. Either we've got motions that your lawyers filed, or you and your lawyer have worked out a resolution with the state, or it's trial time and we'll get you in here and you'll have a chance to have a jury decide what really happened in the case. And was it an accident? Was it reckless, or whatever the situation was? Your point of contact throughout all this will be Ms. Wood. She will come see you. She's going to let you know how to reach her, and you two will work through all that. Do you have any questions about anything I said?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, it's nice meeting you. And Ms. Wood will be seeing you soon. Do you need you removed the staple?
I did.
Okay.
They're right here.
Excellent. Okay. That is it, Mr. Shapiro. Thank you for sticking around. If you'll let Mr. Abate know he needs to get discovery to Ms. Wood, we're all set.
I will.
All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Ms. Rivers.
Hey, thank you.
You may have the excuse, Judge.
You may. And for those of you in YouTube land, the answer is that there was a defense verdict in the Ebezem trial.
Everything will come, I'll get this out from here, so I'll be.
Thank you. Have a nice day. You too.